Hey everybody, it's Wednesday.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And I think it's going to be our last Wednesday show for a while.
Yeah, well, not for a while. Well, last Wednesday show, yeah. Hopefully we can get back to our Thursdays. But yeah, last show of the year at least.
Last show of the year. That's a really great point, actually.
Yeah.
And, I guess with that, we always kind of start with an ice report. And we have one for you. So what do you got?
What do I got? Ice around us varies a lot. So I was seeing stuff on Shawano Lake. There's 10 inches in some spots on the stuff we were fishing. Down by New London, we're seeing 3 to 6. This is all in Wisconsin, by the way, for those of you folks that aren't in Wisconsin. Yeah. So I mean, up north they have a little bit. So we're all over the place. So it's very important to keep checking ice. We're definitely not out of the no spud bar zone yet, although that should be never. That should always be with you. Hey Ray. But yeah.
One of the things that we had found this past weekend, at least where we were, is that the shores were not necessarily as good as some of that ice that's more in the middle or whatever you call that. And the reason is because we had such a crazy warm up and rain in places and all of that. But it's funny, you almost seem to forget that because, just the last few days, it has been quite cold.
Yeah. Hey, Terry. Yeah, it's been pretty cold. I'm sure the shores have made a little bit of a comeback, but with that, we've also had in our area at least like 6 inches of snow since we were out fishing last. So depending on where you are, that might be a factor. Especially with thinner ice, you can get a little bit of slush going. We've already had that, melted it off, got past it. Now we're back at it again. So hopefully it doesn't wreck it too much. But it seems like, it's all pretty much good to go.
Well, and, if you guys have an ice report, definitely let us know where you're at or how much ice you have, or if you have none at all yet. There are still places in the ice belt that are unfortunately in that situation. But it looks like we're all headed in the right direction. So the first thing about, I guess, the fishing report is the ice, or I guess I called that the ice report. Yeah. But the other half is the fishing report. So as far as fishing, a lot of people take the holidays and they get out with family. And one of the crazy things is, we visit some of our family that doesn't go fishing. So we actually only went out on Sunday evening on our way home from seeing family. And so we don't have, a ton of time to bank our information on, but at least by Sunday where we were at, the fishing was tough. Well, it was pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Even the guys running flags were saying one group of guys said they hadn't had a flag all day Sunday. A couple other guys had a few fish. I managed to get 3 different species on 3 different plastics. We met a new guy Ryan. He was hanging out with us. He was using wax worms, didn't catch any fish. And you were using your plastics.
Didn't catch any fish.
Didn't catch any.
It's been a long time since I've been skunked, but that's the way that it goes.
Yeah. So it was pretty tough Sunday afternoon, but that's how it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you win, sometimes not. I don't know.
Well, and I guess the thing about that is, at least if that's going to be the circumstance, at least there's not like somebody next to me that's like out fishing me and pulling fish up every 2 seconds. Right. You don't want to see others struggle either, but as long as you're all trying things and, nothing's working, at least you can say that nothing was working.
Yeah, that's true.
So one of the things that we did start talking about there is Christmas. And I guess one of the things that I didn't actually get for Christmas, but I kind of feel like I did because the delivery just came in the mail, is my brand new Striker Stella suit. So the really crazy thing about this is, I've used that climate suit for so long and I was afraid, honestly, I was scared to switch because when you have like layering in a system that works for you, it's hard to change for that. And so actually that was really, really excellent. A very, very mobile suit, a very, very warm suit. We've had some really windy days, so a very windproof suit. And I'm really looking forward to, getting out in it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, you looked pretty comfy. It almost makes me want a new suit. No, I like my suit. I have it all broken. I know I have all the accessories where I want them. Be a while till I switch my suit.
But there are a lot of different people, a lot of different ladies, especially that are looking for options in suits. Or if you are a guy or whoever that's looking to get a lady, your friend, your girlfriend, your wife, your mom, whoever out, then that is a really fun option to be able to look into, because it is an awesome suit.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh. Looks like Terry gets to take a trip. Spirit Lake, Iowa. Nice.
That's more than I thought that you'd say was down there. That's actually pretty excellent.
Yeah, that is excellent. That's always been a interesting lake I thought about fishing. Hey, Jim.
Actually, I was just going to ask about Christmas gifts, but Jim was on a show with us last night and was talking about, did you get yourself a Panoptics, dude? Because I'm interested to hear about that graph, because that's a fabulous gift. Or maybe Santa got it for you. This is fabulous. But I was going to say, we are just fresh off of the holiday season. So if you guys did get fishing gear for Christmas, then let us know what that is, because I'm always interested to see in what people are using or getting or wanting or... Sorry, Jim, I didn't mean to spill the beans.
Turn your volume down so she doesn't hear.
But we're interested in that because we actually get a few Christmas gifts here that I think that we're going to highlight. And actually, well, even before that, you're holding up something that I didn't expect. You had made a post earlier in the day.
Just a couple hours ago. So for those of you, Eric, thank you for commenting and putting in a guess. And Brett McComas, it is not 7 pieces of chicken. Hey, I found the other bowl.
That's awesome. That's really funny.
But
so Josh had put up a post showing off the new box that had showed up at our house today, because this is something that Josh has really been wanting. And it is a razor ice auger, as the post showed, but he did not have the size indicated in the picture. He had kind of covered that up and asked people to guess. And it's almost impossible to guess because the boxes are really small, no matter what size auger you're getting.
Yeah, it's a 4-incher. I got a 4-incher. So that's going to be awesome. So the reason I wanted this is because we're going to do some ice camping. And I wanted to have a smaller hole that I could put either one of our Helix in, or our camera, or both. And have it out of our fishing holes, but still be able to read both of our baits. Be able to see both of the baits with the camera. Spin it around on the sweet motorized AquaView stand. So, yeah, that's what I got for myself from Razor Santa.
That's what you got yourself. Well, it was something that Josh wanted to bring home from actually one of the shows, because we are, fresh off of Expo season. But that's the amazing thing, is that these were selling and flying off the shelves like crazy. So, there were several weekends that went by that there was not a 4-inch auger left to take with us.
Nope. So we're pretty lucky, and we got it just in time. This week we got to make a little trip out to Minnesota for one more little Christmas shindig. Maybe get some fishing in on some of my old stopping grounds. Maybe
that'd be kind of crazy.
We'll see. Maybe we can hit up some friends over there. I don't know. Who knows what things are going on? But then the weekend after, I think we're gonna go test our camping setup.
Where? I guess we'll find out. That's an interesting.
That's
question.
A long ways away. We still have to go to Minnesota and back
and
make it back from that.
So one of the things is you were talking about this 4-inch razor. Can we bring this back up here?
No, absolutely not.
So as far as scouting ice, this is a super, super portable unit. I was a little bit hesitant about a 4-inch auger. But as far as scouting, for sure, that's going to be super easy. And like you said, that camera work in the tent is going to be awesome. But just in case there's anybody out there who is not quite yet familiar with Razor, yeah, you're doing exactly what I was going to do.
How did I know?
How did you know? Yeah, it's like fresh off the package. Like
Yeah, there's
like
packaging on it.
yeah.
Get out of there, paper.
Yeah, there you go.
Swing.
Oh, there you go. So one of the first things that you see is that center point. And so one of the things that's really fabulous about that is, first of all, it will ground your hole and kind of give your auger a place to start. But the other thing is there's no wiggle, there's no movement. So it's really great for drilling a hole. But while we're here, wait, don't cover it up yet.
Oh.
Because the other most important thing that you can tell, and I know it's really small because you're probably watching on your phone or something, but what this has here is a curved blade. I'm trying to like exaggerate it with my finger and it's hard to see and I don't want to even touch it because honestly they're so sharp. But one of the things that that curved blade will be able to do for you is it creates a shave. So there's a lot of different augers out there and they do more like crushing and crunching and you can tell how hard that is on your drill. But when you have a super smooth shave, that's going to be nice and easy on your drill. It's going to be really fast. But most of all, it is going to be quiet. And so when we are talking about going out and fishing panfish, one of the things that annoys me to death is when people are using really noisy augers that, you know, scare all the fish away. And you have to give that spot time and you have to like come back when the fish are back. You know, kind of the point of going these different places and finding the fish is like being with the fish. So when you have an auger that can drill a quiet enough hole, that's something that's really been in our benefit. A lot of times also during this early ice season, those fish are right under the bottom of that ice. You know, make sure that you're fishing, you know, can I say shallow enough? I guess that's not the right term, but right under the ice, because those fish won't be scared away by that.
Yeah, just remember to fish the upper part of the water column.
That's what I mean.
So, Jim, I'm not planning on bringing any fish through the 4-inch hole. I don't know why anybody would fish through one, but I'll come fishing with you. If you don't have bluegills that fit through there, then I'll bring my 6-inch.
6-inch. We have an 8-inch also. That's our 40 volt though.
You have an 8-inch. That's yours.
Well, but like we're saying,
though,
that 4-inch auger, okay, perfect for checking ice. So when we're going out there, we just want to know how much ice is out there. You know, as you're going along, it's a really super fast drill. So that 4-inch is perfect. But the other thing is when we set up, like we're saying, our ice camping and we're there overnight and you have stuff, and I'm honestly really afraid of dropping things down that hole. You fish with Ryan. Yeah, Ryan needs a 10-inch hole for those bluegills. But yeah, we could just put the camera down, but not have to worry about, I don't know, all my other ice shack stuff going down.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and it just keeps it so less chances, more stuff falling down holes, all kinds of good stuff with that.
Jim is bringing up a really great point though, because he had mentioned Ryan and we're all assuming that you mean Salemi and Ice Junkies. So, anybody out there who is going to that Ice Junkies meet and greet, it has been moved to Siren, Wisconsin. And definitely go and check out the Ice Junkies Outdoors Facebook page, or actually it's a group, because they have all of that information posted and pinned to the top. So make sure that if you are planning to go to that event, that you are going to the right place. Because one of the things I know about that event is, first of all, it is a lot of fun. But I also know that they do a whole lot of good and a whole lot of fundraising. So always something to, you know, not just plan to come to yourself, but bring your friends with.
Hey, and you Neptune guys, if you're showing up, we're going to come fish with you, talking to you guys.
That is true. You know, last year, is it Clam Lake or something?
Yeah, Clam Lake, Siren, Wisconsin.
Yeah. But we chose a spot out on the lake and it was pretty all right, actually. I mean,
we caught some fish.
Yeah, we caught some fish. All multi-species, you know, kind of throughout our time there. But we know that there are other people there that were doing better than we were. So I am going to have to scout out
Well, and hopefully it's not super cold again. And then we won't have the pup with, so that'll help.
That's
and
true.
we fixed up the snowmobile. 3 things that were lacking last year.
Yeah, that is true. We love bringing our pup with, and she's super cute in pictures, but sometimes it is tough at a big event when we want to, I don't know, go and do the different things that are going on.
They have an airboat trip. I forgot all about that. Well,
who
I guess
has an airboat trip? That sounds crazy.
The Neptune guys. So we'll just have to go keep their spot warm on Clam Lake for them.
Where do you airboat this time of year? Where are they going? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to ask them about that.
Well, we were invited long time ago. You probably forgot.
It sounds awesome. I hope that they have a great time. Actually, that's going to be a great event too, I'm sure. So we had kind of started talking a little bit about Christmas. And so, my suit felt like Christmas and that auger felt like Christmas. But there's a few things that you actually did get for Christmas.
Fillet knife for all the fish that we keep.
Yeah, that's true. We throw back 99% of the fish. Yeah. But, that is the thing is Josh has been wanting one of these Bubba blades for a while. And to be honest, he does all of our fish cleaning, to be honest. And I just thought that this was like a really fun.
It's super awesome. Yeah.
I'm watching him like unfold all of this. I wish you could be all like, yeah.
And I broke it.
I'll get it. We need that part.
But yeah, it comes with 2 batteries, which is pretty sweet. And I didn't know very much.
Durable.
I didn't know very much about this, so this was completely surprise from Emily. But it has all those blades in there. That's kind of nice. And this sweet carrying case. And it's quiet. That's what I like about it. Let's see. Can I get it to go? What's that? I guess the only critique I would have is it's like pretty big. Like I have, I wear large size gloves, so like not the biggest hands in the world, but like, so it's feels a little unruly, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Cool. It's awesome.
It's not as heavy as you'd think.
No.
But like Josh was saying, it is like a little bit bulky. So as far as your traditional knife, it does fit in your hand differently. But I think that's the thing about kind of an electric knife is that they cut differently too. You want one of these, Jim? That's the funny thing is that honestly, I shopped on Amazon, so it is what it is. But there's a lot of different options out there. Ones that plug in, this new one, the lithium battery, and even more than that. And honestly, it was a little bit tough to sort through. So, if one option isn't right for you, then there probably is another one that is. But like Jim, you're saying cordless. That's absolutely the thing that I was thinking of with this is, we don't do all that many fish. But even with a lithium battery, that should last plenty long.
Yeah. I think, I was watching some reviews on it, or some like demos, YouTube stuff, like any guy does when they get a new toy. And yeah, it seemed like they were doing like 40 fish a battery or something. That's plenty.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Jim, you're saying you want a live demo next time. That's actually a really great point. I mean, I guess if it was based on me this past weekend, we wouldn't have gotten fish anyways. Oh gosh. No, I'm kidding. But there is all kinds of uses. They show on the website doing like saltwater. So I hope to take a trip that fabulous that I'm going to need that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know. Cool.
Yeah.
What else?
I don't know. What else? You got this here. Do you want this?
Not yet.
Okay.
If anybody does have tips about these Bubba blades or, that lithium setup or any of that kind of stuff, drop that in the comments because I'm always pretty interested in hearing, if there's a tip or a trick or anything. I always wonder about maintenance for that kind of stuff, but you probably know that.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Is there maintenance to like keep them working right?
You just clean it. I don't
Good to
know.
go.
Our friend
Cut Josh's beard to test it. Yeah, it's a little bit uneven right on that side.
That's true. That is. Yeah, I don't know. Our friend Brian Claremont has a corded one.
That's true. That's part of
That's
what
pretty-
spurred my idea to get this.
Something live? What?
Not sure what that means, Terry. We're not going to cut up anything live. Oh,
No.
maybe like on the ice one day, like cut up a fish or something. Or I don't know, as we
Yeah.
grill it up. I don't know. We do a fishing trip in, what is it, June now?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a video then of cleaning fish or something. But that's a long ways away. But who knows? Maybe we won't even keep fish until then.
I don't know if anybody wants to watch me cut up fish live. I'm not very good at it. I don't practice very much. Good enough.
Well, and so I guess with that, if anybody has a favorite recipe that they like to use, drop that in the comments because clearly that's something we're going to need. Otherwise, I make the same recipe every time. And
tip downs. All right. So what do you want to talk about? Tip downs. Are the danglers over here?
No, on the wall.
Yeah, I
know
can
where they're
grab
at.
one.
You know where they're at?
Yeah.
We do have a few other things around. That's funny. Josh was talking danglers. I haven't even used those this year. Terry's saying next gift. I do have one over here that we're keeping to the side, but got a few things before that. So, Brian, thanks for checking in. Hello to you too. Hope you had an awesome Christmas and a great New Year's. So to everybody watching, hopefully it's going to be a great New Year's. Jim was asking, what are you using them for and for presentation? So we're going to get, yeah.
It's so small. She didn't even think I grabbed it.
That's true. That's exactly what happened. I was like, I thought you were going to grab a dangler, and he did.
All right. So besides our buddy James Sullivan and his awesome STDs that he makes,
and this would have been a fabulous stocking stuffer because show them how small this is.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't even think that Josh grabbed it.
So James makes an awesome product with his tip downs. He has a motorized version. It works really well. It's very much something that everybody's kind of used to. There's one that's called Innovative Tip Downs that fits in like a tube. Our buddy Zach Humphreys uses that one. That comes all together with like a rod and reel and all that kind of stuff. Breaking out the old guy.
Well, it's gonna be a good demo.
But so this is not a tip down. This is a rod holder. Get that out of my face. So this is a rod holder, and what that does is Emily's putting together, getting my old retired rod out.
If it had a reel, obviously the reel would be hanging here, and that would be great.
And so this might not. Well, it might work. We'll see.
But what you do is you move this. It's Velcro, and so it helps you find a balance point. And so obviously my balance point is going to be way off because I don't have a reel here.
Good
so
call,
we're going to
Jim.
do our best. But what you have is this hook. Whoops, it's right behind the. So what you do is you have this hook, and then it hangs right on your dangler. Oh, and actually look at that. It could be better.
So when you can position this Velcro up and down the handle to adjust the sensitivity or where you want your rod. So you could have your rod all the way almost touching the ice, so there's not very much movement. You can have it set up like that, so there's a lot more weight and tension when fish come to bite it. But it's a super, light setup. I used them all. I used them for red lake walleyes a lot when I was younger. They work great for crappies, and they also have here. You want to hold that? So they also have a setup where you can use them for pike and walleyes at a distance. Why is that weird? Oh, so basically it's a little flag system, and I gotta put this down.
It spent the year in my ice fishing bag, so two of these pieces came apart. He's just snapping them together here quick.
Yeah.
But, Josh is talking about the panfish, the walleyes, but if a pike does grab this, because that rod just dangles here, it's not something that you're going to lose any piece of. So you want to make sure that your drag is set appropriately so you don't lose anything. But We've never had a problem with that. And these are super compact and easy to use.
Yeah. So the flag system is really easy. You just attach this to the line, and then and then open your bail. And when the line gets pulled out, it flips up and it's sitting on this. So then your rod will go down and your flag will be up. And
all you have to do is
lift it up.
Because this isn't snapped in any way at all. This is free. And so when you just pick up your rod,
yep,
there's no resistance. There's nothing getting stuck. There's nothing moving in any way. So you're pretty good to go on that.
Yeah. And so now all of that just fits in the palm of your hand, basically. This just pops out, folds in.
Josh is a little faster than I am.
All together in a bucket. You can fit 100 of these in a bucket, I bet.
I bet not 100. 100 is a lot.
Yeah, pretty close though.
I do like those. It does fit on any rod because again, you just attach that right to the handle, so that is pretty user friendly. But you got another thing here that I didn't expect you to grab, and this is something else that you can use with, well, most any rod at least.
Yeah, well, no, you can use it with any rod. This one is a little bit hard to demonstrate with the without a reel, but this is the finicky fooler. People kind of know that logo, and you put the rod in the rod holder, you clip this down here to the base, and you put your line under the trigger, and when the line gets pulled up, the flag pops up and your rod's here ready to go. This model in particular, you can also use it also as an auto setter, so you can hook your rod tip down here and use it as an auto setter. And we got these specifically for going down and visiting our buddy Mark Corbett to go fish brown trouts. Just because we didn't want to spend a bunch of money on the actual auto setters, and these were a lot smaller, and it's been working pretty good.
It has been actually really fun to try and use. We don't often get down to Milwaukee and the harbors like that, but if you're doing something like pike or whatever, this will work for that too. Just make sure that if you're using that auto setter feature, that if you are, just make sure that you know the rules and regulations, because not everywhere allows that.
Right. Jim also uses one, and Jim has another good. I love that reel, the Kuma bait feeder reel. We have a bunch of them on our snare rods. So that's kind of where I was getting to with the topic here. So with tip downs, you can use, a lot of guys just use the wooden peg reels or the wooden peg rods. You just set it down, and then when you get the fit, it tips down. You go grab the rod, set the hook, pull the fish up, set it back down. The STD, you can use any rod or reel you have. It dangles there. It's a really good system. Sets up on that little cradle, and then when the fish bites it, it goes down. And that's the telltale sign of those tip downs, is that when it goes down, it stays down. That's why the dangler is a rod holder, because it's neutral. So if it goes down, fish lets go, it comes back up. Tip downs won't do that. So those are all dead stick presentations for the most part, right? Unless you're using James motorized one, which is pretty sweet. But you can also do something similar with the snare rod from JT. So that just sets in a rod holder, and basically, your most basic setup, you could have a split shot and a single hook or a treble hook, about 8 to 12 inches apart from the minnow, and just hook the minnow under the dorsal fin, and it'll just swim around, and then the fish comes by and grabs it, and either your rod falls like a tip down, or in the case of the snare rod, you'll just see the whole rod load up, and the fish isn't necessarily feeling that until it gets to the end of the rod, and it's already hooked by that point, because it just kind of pulls slowly, and then it just like pulls in, and then that fish takes off because it feels resistance, and you just go over there and reel it in.
Well, and I had said earlier that I was surprised I haven't used a dangler all season yet. But I think, quite frankly, that's the reason, is because we do have those snare rods now. So, I do love those danglers. But there's a few different ways to do similar things, I guess. And so that dangler, that's an option that we've always had. But I have really found that I like those snare rods a lot.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things about the JT rod is that with their spring bobber, it is super, super, super delicate. So you can see all those teeny tiny bites. But what sets this spring bobber apart is that it is a tapered spring bobber. So one end is slightly narrower than the other. And what that allows for is when your rod is bending down and curving down, your spring bobber is not just going to collapse and like make that 90-degree really hard to, your line is doing that funky thing. I don't know. And so when that spring bobber can go with the curve of the rod and everything is running smooth, the fish can have head shakes or whatever is going on. And that's something that you can easily then control and bring that fish in. So I don't know, maybe it just is boosting my confidence or something, but that's what I've kind of switched to this year.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, we're talking about tip downs.
And all kinds of stuff. We talked.
Jim has all kinds of tips about tip downs. He's putting bobber stops on his line, and that's a great trick. And since we're talking about set lines here, we can go to tip ups and rattle reels. When you're using those lines, they're a little bit thicker. A lot of guys like to use that Darkon. Fly line has become a really good substitute because it doesn't freeze in a bunch. And a button. Put in a button. Our buddy Nathan taught us that one. And that stays in place really well on those thicker lines, and you can adjust and do something very similar to what Jim is saying there with setting your depth. And I believe you talked about something similar about fishing above trees with vertical jigging, so you didn't get snagged in the trees.
Yeah, with the Clearly Outdoors. I just like that little plastic bead because then you can attach it. You don't have to tie it on or put it on or anything. You can just attach it whenever you want. And it slides up and down. So I don't know if it would work on the fly line or tip up line. I would have to explore that because that's pretty thick.
No, just in general, just the bobber stop on the line for a tip down.
Right.
That would work great.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
That would absolutely. And then, as far as bait for all of these different situations, the one thing, because I think that was a question in the beginning is like, what do you use or what do you put on it or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And I think don't get stuck in a rut is all that I can say. Some people are like, you got to use a minnow or you got to do this depth or you got to do that. And the one thing that, I found to help me be most successful is, switch up the bait because the only thing that matters is what the fish are wanting. But, try different spots, try different depths, fish all different ways until you do find what's working because something ultimately will.
Mm-hmm. Well, and don't be afraid to switch up bait sizes too. A lot of times we think of dead sticks as a finesse presentation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You can think of it as like an extra set of hands. For us here in Wisconsin, we can have 3 lines. I know our friends in New York can have like 8 lines. So utilize all of that to be able to pinpoint what the fish are doing. And like with these tip downs and all that kind of stuff.
And James Sullivan, we were just talking about you.
You just put lures on. A lot of times putting a spoon on there with a minnow will help with the flash and the vibration from some of them that rattle. We were talking with our buddy Jeremy Ainfinson last night, and he was talking about that eyeball spoon. That one has been doing really well on set lines. I know I use the JB Gemini, the JB Lures Gemini. That's one of my favorite set line. So try different lures on there in addition with your minnow, and you might be surprised. Hey, there's a buddy from New York. How's it going, James? And then James Sullivan switched to mixers from beer.
Well, it's almost the New Year's. A lot of people are on vacation, so hey, Oh my gosh. We're talking about all these different things. I actually have not put in tip ups yet this year.
Nope.
I guess every time we've hit the water, I've had the intention of being more mobile than that. But ultimately, we kind of have hunkered down in fish spots anyway. So maybe it's time to break out the old tip ups.
Yeah. Eric, how's it going?
Hey, actually, we should catch Erica up in case you didn't catch the beginning of the show because you'd commented earlier we'd put a post up about what size her razor was. Shut off now that he's here.
Eric, it was not a 7. It was a 4.
But we already talked about all of that.
Yeah.
So if you're joining now and want all that information, then rewind and watch the beginning of that. Because otherwise, Eric, we were thinking of you. So as we are talking about all these different things throughout the evening, if there's a specific topic that you want to talk about, or if there's something fishing wise that you got for Christmas that you want to talk about, drop that in the comments, because that's something that we would love to talk about with you guys as well.
Yeah, we love these Q&A kind of conversation stuff. So any questions are welcome, whether we answer them or not. That's up to her.
We try to.
Tony, do we use more plastics or live bait? I'm gonna say that we are more leaning towards plastics most of the time.
You said it like you're thinking about it, but we are like plastics.
So, but there's a caveat though, because if we're using set lines, that's almost all live bait. You can get away with plastics on set lines if the bite is doing really well. And if you're outside, I find if you're outside and you can, especially on like the dangler rod holders or like the motorized STD or something like that, when you can be outside and be spread out and you can put plastics on those, they move around a little bit. And so that can work. But, if you're talking about like us going around and fishing like in our hand,
fishing, yeah.
That's all plastics. But if you're talking about set lines, then we're using live bait.
And when Josh has live bait, he means that I use hot dogs. Because I just
not on your crappie ones.
Well, no, but I don't know. I just on a tip up usually for pike. Yeah. It's just I can't keep bait alive. That's the thing. Is it's just like annoying. Plastics, I just throw them in my bucket. I don't have to think about anything freezing or needing air bubbles or anything like that. And so plastics are just easy. I can switch up bug profile, minnow profile, something crazy in between, pull half of each bait, put them together, make a little creature of some sort, control the color, control the movement, the action. I mean, there's just so much with a plastic that I feel like I'm able to do. But with that being said, was it 2 weeks ago? We went and fished one of the backwater spots of the Wolf River, and honestly, minnows were doing pretty good pulling in perch for somebody that was fishing near us. And I was a little bit sick of being outfished. So I went up to the resort, Clemens River Resort, and actually they weren't even open, but they saw me walking up and they did. They opened up. They sold me some wax worms. And that is actually, it worked way better than plastics. So, I will sit here and I swear by plastics, but there are just times where you need a worm or something different like that.
Yeah, James is right here. Sometimes they just want meat, though. Something I'm trying a little bit, and it worked a little bit for me on Sunday. Not definitively enough to say that it works like 100%, but there's some great companies out there like Lure Lipstick or Billy Rub that have some scented. It's like ground up live bait that's in the paste form. And it does, you don't have to get your hands messy. It's not going to leak all over the place because it's like a jelly or like a paste. And I put some of that on my plastics, and I did catch more fish than you.
I did not know that's why you caught fish.
I
told you right now.
No, I told you that I was using them.
Oh my god!
But so they're they have the wax worm, emerald shiner, the freshwater shrimp. And so maybe we can increase the effectiveness of our plastics on those tough days with those. That's just something that I'm experimenting with this year. I know in the past, like the Lure Lipstick, the soft bait enhancer, I have really liked. So I'll put a little drop of that in my baits, and that's worked really well to like recharge stuff, and it's been really good to me. So I picked up some of that Billy Rub little jars, so I'm working with that. So we'll see. Oh, here's another one. Good call there, Eric. Our buddy Andrew has those beaver tail baits, and those are pretty sweet too. I just went through my last pack. I guess that reminds me I have to make an order with Mr. Gullickson.
Well, and that's actually funny because we have been hoping to get him on our Tuesday night show one of these times. And I think he's hoping to get on as well. So he's not like blowing us off or anything, but he's a dad and got a family and life things going on. So, we're sitting here talking about all these baits and what's working and all of that. But one of the cool things is that so many of the companies that we've mentioned right now are small companies run by local families, like doing cool stuff in the fishing world. So, shout out to Andrew and Beavertail Baits because that's his situation. That's his company and it's doing awesome. So definitely go and support him because that is great for a finicky bite.
Yeah, and it's one thing we were just talking about just before the show is that something that can make you a little bit more effective as an angler is having stuff that not everybody else has, and so grabbing stuff from people like Widowmaker or from Billy Rub, IJO Plastics, Extreme Plastics, Beaver Tail Baits, those little companies that there's a good following and it's mainly regional, but it might not be widespread and you don't hear a lot of people around you using it. Might be what the fish gravitate towards because they haven't seen it very much, right? So you might be having an easier time tricking them when they haven't seen it. So it's worth checking those little things out, especially from these smaller mom and pop stuff operations.
And quite a few shout outs for Billy Rub. That's somebody else that we were working to get on the show and we bumped into them at the expos this past season. And I think that they're interested in getting on as well, but kind of letting the holiday season simmer down a little bit and then we'll see where we can go from there. So stay tuned on that front.
Yeah. So I guess other than that, what?
We do have one more thing here.
It's
a little bit off topic. It's a little bit, a little bit different from plastics and baits, but sometimes you don't use necessarily, jigs or all of that. And this is if you did not get one of these for Christmas, maybe this is something to get.
Can I shake it up?
Yeah, if you want.
There you go.
So
you can have your tackle box back.
The thing about this is the Vault. It is a liquid product, and gosh, it's amazing every time we do that because you can see how still well organized all of this is. I'm trying to give you like a good angle. So what we have in here is just like
watch your shirt.
One of everything with a treble hook, like all these things that are hard to organize and keep together and put in places. This is how we've been doing this. So like, for example, I have all of these Acme, what are these little flappy things called?
The
Hyperglides. There you go. Good job. But these are really hard to store because they hook onto each other. There's like 5 hooks on this thing, plus the little wings that are flappy, plus the little hooks that hold the line in the back, plus, all this different stuff. But when you can hang it just right inside. So, we spent a lot of time talking about tungsten or plastics or little wax worms, but sometimes you just need a bigger bait. And the hardest thing for me about doing that, switching to that, was just having a way to get all of these onto the ice. So you can see for as many baits as we have in here, there is like literally still room for more. The other thing is, as well organized as this is, that's why Josh was shaking it up and doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the beginning, because when you do zip it up, it is a compression type case, and all those little zigzags that hold all those hooks in don't allow this to wiggle around at all. So when we're talking about like toss this in our snowmobile and fly out to our fishing spot, that's something that is not going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of my favorite cases this year. Just because I just want to try some bigger stuff. bigger baits, bigger fish.
The other thing it does have, and I guess for winter it's not so amazing, but this bottom and you can see through it. So it does have that ventilation. So if you do have, especially in summer, if you have big spoons that you're using or something, and then you put that in there, it's not just going to get all that moisture trapped in there and then like rust out or anything. So this is something that's going to help protect those baits and help me get it out there. So that's been actually really fun to use this year, because otherwise I think that's why I get so stuck with tungsten, is otherwise I don't bring some of that stuff out there with me.
Yeah.
Cool. So, we talked about quite a wide array of things
All
tonight.
kinds of things.
But stuff that's new to us this season, or that we're looking at using, or all that kind of stuff. So, as we talk about catching fish through the year, that gives you kind of some ideas of what we're using or how we're doing it and all that. And ultimately, it's just been kind of a fun time to talk about all of this stuff.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun just getting on here and doing Q&As and just chatting with you guys.
Yeah. So as we move forward, we do have a few guests lined up for the next few weeks. Looking forward to all those different things. I know, isn't next week we are talking with Ryan Slummy, because Ice Chunkies Outdoors is awesome. That meet and greet that's coming up is going to be also super awesome. So looking forward to talking about all of that. And actually he catches fish like you wouldn't even believe. So if you guys have questions, panfish especially, he is the one to ask. So in this week, be thinking about that. And then if you want to come and join in and chat and ask questions, then we'll be here to do that.
Yeah. And in addition to our Tuesday night podcast and our Thursday night podcast, we also are doing a Wednesday night one, but not here on our page. We'll be over on the SmackDown Outdoors page being the guests. So if you guys want to come hassle our buddy Doug or hassle us, that's where we'll be 6:00 next Wednesday. Otherwise, we'll be here next Thursday with Ryan Salemi at 7 p.m.
Yeah. Awesome. So to everybody at home, thank you guys for joining us, because this is always a great time talking fishing. If anybody comes up with other questions or things or whatever they're thinking about, make sure to come and drop that in our comment section. Sorry, I'm like hiccuping. Yeah, I'm like hiccuping. Yeah, it's the New Year's. All the great things that have happened this year. It's been wonderful. But we look forward to the coming year and all that will bring, and all the fishing stuff that we'll get to talk about. So, thanks again for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you on next week's edition of The Night Bite.
Night, everybody.